Down the back straight, Richardson still in the lead, keeping a good eye on Cormish. A slight flick up. Now the bell rings. Richardson still leading. Cornish now trying to gain speed. Opening up just a little gap. Richardson starts to pull away. Cornish trying to close it. But it looks like Richardson will hold on and take out the first round of the elite men's sprint. Lee Hoffman and Matt Gleitzer on the track now. Gleitzer leading Hoffman. Again, both riders going around slowly. Starting to build up a little bit of speed now. Gleitzer keeping an eye over his shoulder on Hoffman behind. 2 to go now. Hoffman moving around, trying to make himself unpredictable, trying also to use as much of the banking as he can to get a run on Gleitzer. Gleitzer makes his way down to the bottom of the track first. The bell rings. Another move up and down from both riders. Lee Hoffman doing it more extremely. Down the back straight, it's given Hoffman a lot of ground to make up, but it's also given him a lot of speed. Down the front straight we come. And Gleitzer will hold on. We go now to the elite women's sprint. Coming onto the track now, we have Elise Andrews and Olivia King. The whistle goes, and Andrews is going to lead King to the bottom of the track. Both riders going around pretty slowly, but significantly quicker than the men did. Andrews just keeping an eye on King behind. around the bend and down the front straight they come. A small swerve up by King. Andrews now starting to up the speed. King closing the gap to Andrews, not letting a gap open up by too much if it's too quick. Now the bell rings. King gains some height, tries to use the banking to get a bit of speed. Andrews blocking well as they come down the back straight. It's Andrews still in front. King with a lot to do. Down the front straight they come, and it looks like Andrews will hold on. And Elise Andrews will take the first sprint of the Elite Women's semi-final. Moving on next to Christina Clonan and Brianna Hargrave. The whistle goes. Clonan leads Hargrave off the line. Clonan keeping an eye over her shoulder on Hargrave. And both riders starting to push up Hargrave towards the fence, Clonan up around the stayers line, but as we come into the bank, both move down the front straight. Hargrave swings down behind Clonan, and both riders start to pick up a little bit of speed. Hargrave on the outside, Clonan trying to keep her high, and doing so successfully so far. Clonan really being an immovable object of sorts. Hargrave trying twice to come down and Clonan not moving at all for her. Down the back straight we go now. It's Clonan with the lead. Hargrave trying to come around the bend. Down the front straight, it's still Clonan ahead, and it's going to stay that way. Clonan taking out the point. And up next, we go to the Para IP finals. Taking the track now, we have Luke Taylor. He's the only rider in men's C4. So all he has to do is finish and he'll be crowned Oceanic champion. Taylor getting away without any major complications. Still getting on top of his gear. He now sits down and settles in. 26.097 the time for his first lap. Now he starts to sit down, tuck his head into his hands, trying to make himself as small as possible as he makes his way around. After the second lap, his time about 42 seconds. Around the bend from the final straight and into the front straight. 102.491, time for lap 3 of 16. 4 kilometres for men's C4 and C5. Down the front straight comes Taylor again, and this time he'll go 1:21.038. Down the back straight now, still looking comfortable. Still looking relatively well composed, which is a good sign, considering we're only a quarter of the way through. Taylor now making his way around and down the front straight. 10 laps to go. Still looking comfortable, turning his legs over nicely as he makes his way around. Down the front straight. He gets 9 to go, 2:16.866. The time for Luke Taylor. And he just keeps his form coming around. Head nice and low. He is starting to hang it a bit more, which is a sign of fatigue. It looks like he might be starting to get tired as he comes around. He's only just past halfway. He's got 7 laps to go. Six to go now for Taylor. You can see his teeth starting to grit together more. You can see him starting to stiffen his upper body in an attempt to stop his head from hanging. Just trying to keep his cadence consistent as he makes his way around the track, trying to keep his schedule where he wants it. Taylor makes his way around the bank, down the front straight to get 4 laps to go. He's 3/4 of the way there. He's only got 1K left. Taylor looking like he's really feeling it. Down the front straight he comes, towards the line. 3 laps to go in his race. 4:06.113 his time thus far. Down the back straight he goes now. Still pushing hard as he comes down the front straight. 2 to go. 4:24.296 his time as he starts his last 500 meters. He's going to enter the bank now. Coming out of the bank, he's going to go down the front straight and collect the bell. There it is. 1 lap to go for Luke Taylor in the Para IP Men's C4 final. And upon crossing this line, he will be able to wear an Oceanic jersey. 5 minutes, 0.816 of a second. Or pulled foot for Ian Edwards. And the guns go. We're going to do a restart. No major complications this time. Ian Edwards and Connor Douglas, both representing New Zealand, out on the track now. Edwards with a pretty good start on Connor Douglas. Now there is a catch made. However, Ian Edwards is going for time. Edwards looking pretty comfortable, pretty good as he rolls around. Out of the bank and down the front straight he comes. 12 laps to go, so his first kilometre over, 1 minute 20.294 seconds, the time for Ian Edwards. Down the front straight he comes. Out of the bend, down the front straight he comes again. 10 laps to go for Edwards. Edwards looking comfortable as he rolls around again, keeping his cadence nice and consistent. Posture looking good as well. Edwards looking strong as he reaches the halfway point in his race. 2 minutes 672, sorry. Coming down the front straight now, he's got 7 laps to go. 2 minutes 53.378 seconds, the time then for Edwards. Still looking strong, still looking consistent with the pace with which he started. And that looks like it's going to continue to be the same as he gets 6 to go. Down the back straight now. Looking good, he comes down the front to get 5 to go. .330, almost on the dot. And now it looks like Edwards is starting to show a little bit of fatigue. He's still looking pretty strong. But you can see him now just hanging his head a little bit. Cadence has dropped slightly, but he is looking strong and he is looking good. Out of the bend, down the back straight goes Edwards. He's going to come around to get 2 laps to go. Down the front straight he comes now. .500 meters left in his race as Edwards makes his way down the back straight and now around the bend and down the front straight. The bell rings. 1 lap to go for the New Zealander. Ian Edwards making his way down the back straight now. Half a lap to go in Edwards' race. And he makes his way into the final bend. Out of the final bend he comes and into the finishing straight, racing towards the line to post a time of 5 minutes and 5.620 seconds. Tom Cornish on the inside of Matthew Richardson this time. As we start the second round for the elite men's sprints. The whistle goes. Cornish keeping an eye on Richardson as he leads him down onto the duckboard. Both riders really going around quite slowly. And now moving up towards the fence. Not really going very far above the stayers line before they move back down to the duckboard. Now they're moving up again. Cornish decides to move back down. Richardson decides to stay higher. And Cornish leading from the front, really starting to wind it up. Richardson very high on the track now as we come down the front straight. The bell rings. 1 lap to go. Richardson makes his way onto the wheel of Cornish and comes over the top with a great amount of speed. Cornish sits up, and that is how Matthew Richardson gets himself through to the gold medal final, ladies and gentlemen. And we're underway with our second sprint. Both riders going even slower than our previous heat. The gun might go off if they continue at this pace. Both riders on the back straight now, starting to move up towards the middle of the track. Hoffman still at the front, keeping a very close eye on Matthew Glaetzer. Down the front straight they come. 2 laps to go. Hoffman makes his way down to the bottom of the track. And now Glaetzer winding it up, comes down the front straight, the bell rings, 1 lap to go. Hoffman trying to hold him high. Matthew Glaetzer pushing very hard as they come down back straight there side by side. Hoffman now coming forwards as they go around the bend. Glazer trying to hold himself forwards, but Hoffman pulls forward and they go 1-all. Very good effort by the podium potential rider. And Lee Hoffman and Matthew Glazer will go to a third round. Elise Andrews and Olivia King taking the track for their second round in the elite women's sprint. The whistle goes. Olivia King leads Elise Andrews to the bottom of the track. Both riders going very slow around the track. And as they enter the back straight, they start to gain a little bit of height on the boards. And the guns go, they have to start again for going too slowly. Riders there, I think, just getting a talking to from the commissaire, being told they need to go a bit faster. The whistle goes. King leads Andrews down to the bottom. Looking ahead, keeping an eye on Andrews behind. Out of the bend and onto the back straight they come. Going to the end of the straight. They slow down almost to a track stand, but King decides to move it along at least to the next straight. Going around the bend, she's on the duck board. Andrews deciding to go a bit higher. Two laps to go. Olivia King keeping still a good eye on Elise Andrews. Both riders starting to build up a bit of speed. Andrews behind, really swerving around everywhere, trying to make herself a bit unpredictable, but it's king that goes, and as the bell rings, it's king that's ahead. Down the back straight we go. Andrews with a lot of speed over the top of king. And she comes forward, she looks to see the gap, and she sits up about 30 metres out. She knows she's got it, and she knows she's going through to the gold medal final. Coming back onto the track, we have Christina Clonan and Brie Hargraves. Shake of hands between the New Zealanders is always something we love to see. Whistle goes. Hargrave leads Clonan to the bottom of the track. Keeping a good eye on her as she does so. These riders rounding it with a bit more speed than our previous two races did. Both riders hovering around the stayers line at the moment. Clonan moving up a bit. Hargrave deciding to swerve down and move back up, maybe animate the race a little bit more, bring a little speed to it, pushes herself up a bit more, swerves back down, swerving back up. Clonan just keeping herself in a good position and starts to move underneath. Almost a close call there. The bell rings. Clonan now on the inside, pushing Hargrave high, now moves into the sprinters lane. A very good move by the Queenslander. Down the back straight, Hargrave with ground to make up, and she's got the speed. That's starting to wash away as they round the bend, and down the front straight they go. Clonan puts herself in the gold medal final. Very good ride. Magnificent racecraft. And now we go to the para women C1 to C5 and para men C1 to C3 and blind individual pursuits. Both riders, Talia, Clayton Goody and Caitlin Sherman, getting away without any major issues. Down their respective straights they come to finish their first lap. 0.7 of a second, the gap between the two riders. Sherman looking across the track at her opponent, keeping an eye on her. As they come around to finish their second lap, it's Clayton Goody who's turned it around into her favour. Over a second, the gap for her. Down the front straight comes Sherman. Down the front straight as well comes Clayton Goody. Splitting first. Sherman splitting second. About 4 seconds down on her rival. Clayton Goody and Sherman both looking pretty consistent with how they started. Down the back straight goes Clayton Goody. And it looks like she's maybe about 50, 60 metres off the catch. And there are still 7 laps to go in this race. She's right on schedule. Sherman heading down the back straight. About 10 metres, less than 10 metres between the two riders now as they both come down the front straight. 6 to go for Clayton Goody. And the gun goes, there's been a catch. It doesn't look like Clayton Goody is going to go for time. Doesn't look like Sherman's going to go for time either. Good effort from both riders. Annalise Hodge takes off, the sole rider in the Para Women's C2. Getting away well. now starts to settle into her bars after the first lap. 28 seconds. 28.444 seconds to be precise. The time for Hodge's first lap. Hodge with a very quick start. We saw her scheduler there taking quite a few big steps. Down the back straight, Hodge goes now. Still turning her legs over comfortably, still looking good. She makes her way now down the front straight. Finish her fourth lap. So her first kilometre is over 1:29.623, the time for her first kilo. And now she continues to make her way around, out of the bend, and down the front straight goes Hodge. She gets 7 to go. To 13.508, her time at the halfway mark. She's got 3,000 metres to ride. Hodge continuing, but it looks like she's started to drop a bit below schedule. Down the front straight she comes. Just under 3 minutes, the time for her first 2 kilometres. She's only got 1K to go. She heads down the back straight. She just keeps pushing to try to stay in the rhythm she set for herself at the start. Slipping down onto the duckboard there as she makes her way around the bend. She now makes her way down the back straight. And she now enters the bend. She's going to come around to get 2 laps to go. 500 metres left in the race for Annalise Hodge. Around the bend she goes now. Down the back straight for the penultimate time. Down the front straight now, she is going to collect the bell, and there it is. 250 metres left in the race for Annalise Hodge. Hodge goes into the bank. Coming out, she heads down the back straight. Half a lap to go now for Hodge. And she now starts to make her way around the bend. Into the front straight, down towards the finish line, and she sets a time of 4 minutes, 35.317 seconds, and takes out the gold medal for the C2 women. Paige Greco and Emma Mickle taking off for the Para Women C3 final. Both riders getting away pretty well. It's Greco with the faster start though. And after 2 laps, it's faster by almost 3 seconds. Down the back straight goes Greco now. Out of the bend comes Mickle. Down the front straight now goes Emma Mickle. Always frustrating when schedulers use iPads as their method of informing, because it's hard for us to interpret. The gun goes for the catch, neither rider looking to go for time by the looks of it.
Correction, A6.
Correction from the commissaires, it's actually an A6 for entering the sprinters lane when the opponent was already there. Just a warning to Brianna Hargraves. We now go to the Para Women C4 bronze medal final. It's really good to see a category competitive enough for a bronze medal and gold medal final. Both riders getting away pretty well. No major issues on either side. And after the first half lap, it's pretty close between the two. I think it's Siobhan Terry from New Zealand with the slightly better start. And after the first lap, that seems to have changed. 0.2 of a second between the two in the favour of the Australian Sharon Boyd. And as they start to now settle into their paces, that gap looks like it's going to expand. Almost a whole second now between Boyd and Terry. Nine to go. Down the back straight. Down the front straight now. Siobhan Terry splitting second on lap 4, 1:18.815. The first kilometre for Sharon Boyd compared to 1:23.652 for Siobhan Terry. So about 5.5 seconds between the two of them in the first K. Let's see how it changes. Almost 30 metres between the two, quickly closing to 20. And it looks like there'll be a catch in this race as well as Boyd closes in on Terry. The gun goes. Both riders sit up, and Sharon Boyd will have won herself a bronze medal. But I was just wondering, if it was still working, I need to go down to get it. Alana Forster on the front straight, Meg Lemon on the back, both riders representing Australia. Both riders going for the gold medal in the women's C4 individual pursuit. And both riders getting away reasonably well without major complication. Meg Lemon with the better start over Alana Forster, at least over the first half lap. And that seems to continue to be the case after the first full lap. 1.76 seconds, the distance between the two after only 250 metres of 3,000. Down around for the second lap, that gap is going to be about the same, a little bit bigger by 66 thousandths of a second. Meg Lemon just keeping an eye on the board there, trying to see how her time is going. Lana Forster just a little bit further behind now, the gap continuing to open in the favour of Lemon as Lemon makes her way down the back straight. She crosses the line now, and 1.2 seconds later goes Forster. So Forster now starting to close that gap to Lemon again. They're going to come around for 7 laps to go, so they will just have passed the third way mark in the previous lap. 7 laps remaining now for both riders, and the gap is only down to half a second. Alana Forster took a little while to get going seemingly, but she's really starting to pick it back up. And down the back straight goes Lemon. Down the front straight comes Forster, and 73 thousandths of a second is the gap at the halfway mark of this race. Meg Lemon really going to have to fight if she wants to hold on to her lead. Forster making her way down the front straight And she is going to cross the line, this time ahead of Lemon by 0.377 seconds. Down the front straight, 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go on the back straight now, 7.789 seconds after. Both riders now on their final kilometre in the race. Rounding the bends, down their respective finishing straights, and the gap has opened up even more to nearly a second and a half in the favour of Alana Forster this time. Lemon really looking like she's starting to struggle, really looking like she's starting to fatigue as she makes her way down the back straight. But Forster still looking more comfortable, still looking consistent with her cadence. And the bell rings, she's being urged on by her scheduler. 2.5 seconds the gap for Lemon to make up. It's Alana Forster's race to lose, ladies and gentlemen. Half a lap to go for Forster, now half a lap to go for Lemon. Out of the bank, down the front straight, Forster crosses the line and gets herself an Oceanic gold medal. Silver to Lemon. On the track now we have Erin Rowell for the women's C5 individual pursuit. Round the bend and down the front straight goes Erin Rowell, settled in to her bars now. She makes her way out of the bend, down the back straight, looking comfortable, looking pretty consistent as she rolls around. Down the front straight she comes now to finish her second lap, 44.760, the time of her the second lap, sorry. .546, the time after lap 3. Rowell looking pretty comfortable still, making her way down the back straight. Applause from the crowd as she finishes her first kilometre, 1:24.917, the time for her first K. And now she starts to round the bend and come down the front straight. Looking strong, looking comfortable. Pretty consistent upper body with how she started. She is starting to hang her head a bit more. You can see as she comes down the front straight. A small sign of fatigue. She is still looking strong though. Rounding the bend and making her way down the back straight. The Australian just having passed the halfway mark in her race. She'll come around and get 5 to go. 2:27.298 the time at that mark. She now makes her way down the back straight. Down the front straight she comes. 4 to go, 1 kilometre left in the ride for Erin Rowell. Heading down the back straight. She rounds the bend now, makes her way down the finishing straight to get 3 laps to go. She's still pushing hard. Her cadence pretty consistent with the one with which she started. Still keeping, at least trying to keep close to her schedule. She comes down the front straight. 2 to go. Around the bend. And down the front straight she comes to collect the bell. Just 1 lap to go for Erin Rowell. Out of the back straight, down she goes towards the bend. Rounding the bend now, she makes her way into the finishing straight towards the line, and she is going to finish with a time of 4 minutes, 12.304 seconds, and win herself a gold medal. Okay, on the track now we have Darren Hicks and Mitchell Bales for the para men C2. No major issues for either rider coming out of the start gate. Bales with a good acceleration. We've seen in pursuit finals riders racing in a final against Darren Hicks trying to take advantage of the time he takes to get up to speed, because they know how formidable a force he is once he gets there. 3 seconds down is Hicks after the first lap. And now he starts to settle in And this is where he does the most of his damage. 10 laps to go. And the gap's already been taken down by a whole second. Hicks making his way down the back straight as Bales makes his way down the front. And already Darren Hicks is out ahead. 0.771 seconds, the gap between the two. Bales makes his way out of the front straight, and as he leaves it, Hicks enters it. Mitchell Bales making his way around and down the back straight to get 8 laps to go. 1:23.869 the time of his first kilometre. Darren Hicks 1:19.547 the time of his first kilometre. And he's now about 20 metres out from catching Mitchell Bales. As they come down the back straight, it looks like the catch will happen. The gun goes. Hicks sits up. Bales sits up as well. Round of applause for both riders. Neither rider willing to go for time. David Nicholas on the front straight, Greg Walters on the back representing Australia. Half a lap in. They're pretty similar in terms of their starts. We'll see how that changes once they settle into the pace that they've set for themselves. Walters ahead by 54 thousandths of a second, so really nothing in it after the first lap. And that seems to continue after the next half lap. Very close between these two. Tenth and a half of a second now in the favour of David Nicholas. Now that Nicholas has got up to speed, he makes his way around the bend and down the front straight to get 9 laps to go. And almost a whole second is the gap between the two riders. They're going to come around after the next half lap to get 8 to go. Nicholas making his way down the front straight now, his first kilometre. 1:14.224. Greg Walters almost 2 seconds down on his first K. And we'll see how that changes as they continue on. 7 to go for Nicholas. 7 to go now for Walters. Just under 3 seconds the gap. And we're not even halfway. So far, every IP we've had for the Paras has ended in a catch. Greg Walters being urged faster, 3.65 the time for Walters. The time gap to Walters, sorry. Both of them on the same straight almost as Walters. is going to leave the back straight. David Nicholas is going to enter it. But we are nearing the pointier end of this IP. We come down the front straight and David Nicholas gets 4 to go. Just 1 kilometre left in this race, and he's got a quarter of a lap to make up if he wants to finish this race with a catch. Walters making his way down the front straight now himself. Nicholas doing the same now. Getting 3 laps to go. Walters now going to get 3 laps to go down the back straight. David Nicholas maybe about 20-30 metres behind him, and as he gets closer he'll get that carrot ahead of him. He'll get a bit of a slipstream as well, and it looks like he's going to make a catch going down the back straight as Walters gets 2 to go. The gun goes, neither rider going for time, so they both sit up. Coming onto the track now, we have the riders for our para women's blind IP. And we have Candice Kennedy and Kelly Fetz. Kelly Fetz, the pilot. Again, these riders are on their own in their category, so all they have to do is finish and get themselves a gold medal. Good start from the both of them coming out of the gate. Now they make their way down the back straight. Around the bank, down the front straight. To get 11 laps to go. The riders turning their legs over pretty well. 40.634 seconds the time after the second lap. And the riders now settling into a pretty good pace. Down the back straight now. The riders looking pretty well committed to their attempted pace. Doesn't look like they've gone out too hard. And after their first kilometre, their time was 1:14.491, 1:31.67, the time after 5 laps. Coming around out of the bend, we'll reach the halfway point in this race. The riders just being urged a little bit faster by their scheduler there. Fetz and Kennedy making their way down the back straight. Now coming down the front. 5 laps to go. Four to go. Now 1 kilometre remaining in the race for Kennedy and Fetz. You can see Kelly Fetz, the pilot, just in front, starting to hang her head a little bit more as she heads around the track. You can see that just means she's just starting to tire as the riders get closer to the end of their race. They're putting in a lot of work, trying to keep to the pace they set for themselves now. Down the back straight, the head continues to just dip ever so slightly for Kelly Fetz. Kennedy behind, looking more comfortable, tucked in nicely, trying to keep herself as much out of the wind as possible as the bell rings. 1 lap to go, now half a lap to go as they reach the other side. Around the bend and down the front straight, they head towards the finish line. 3:39.214, the time by Candice Kennedy and Kelly Fetz for South Australia. Stephen Kemp and Peter Spencer for the para men's blind final. .010, the time after the first lap. Down the back straight, we see them now. Looking pretty comfortable. Anyone who knows Peter Spencer knows how much he relishes an opportunity to ride a tandem. .56.479 after the third lap. Down the back straight they go. Around the bend now and down the front straight. 12 laps to go for the two men. They have to do a 4K ride, 1 kilometre longer than what the women did. 11 to go. Around the bend, down the front straight. 1:46.529, the time for Kemp and Spencer after the first K and a half. Still looking all right as they make their way around to get 9 to go. Holding a pretty good consistency with what they wanted at the start. Down the back straight they go. Out of the bend and down the back straight now. Both riders still looking pretty consistent. They make their way down the front straight to 54.672 after 10 laps. Down the back straight they go now. Coming through. Riders still looking pretty comfortable. Stephen Kemp tucked in nicely behind his pilot, Peter Spencer. Spencer just keeping himself in a good, consistent position. And now he makes his way around the bend and down the front straight. Down the back straight. Two to go, 500 metres left in the ride for Kemp and Spencer. Both riders still looking pretty strong, pretty consistent, being urged a bit faster by their scheduler though as they get the bell. 4:20 their time with 1 lap to go. Down the back straight, half a lap now remaining. A quarter of a lap to go. And now down the front straight to finish with a time of 4 minutes, 38.136 seconds. Presentations after this next event. So if everyone getting a medal could please make their way to the podium area now so that we can get them underway promptly. Lee Hoffman on the inside of Matthew Glaetzer. As we have a decider for our semi-final on who will make it through to fight for the gold medal. Down to the duckboard they go. Both riders going really slowly around. Down the back straight they go now. Up on the bank. No gun though. Maybe they don't use the gun in elite men, I'm not sure. And they go onto the bank. And now start to make their way around down the front straight. Hoffman still keeping a strong eye on Glaetzer. And now we see them start to build up a good bit of speed, hovering around the stayers line. Both riders now move down onto the duckboard and we see a very quick increase in speed. Glaetzer up high on the fence. Hoffman trying to defend from the stayers line. Glaetzer makes his way to the sprinters lane. The bell rings. Both riders swing up. Both riders now will start to make their way down. They cross the 200 line and that's when they decide to do it. It's Hoffman in front. Glaetzer trying to come around. They're into the bend. It's Hoffman in the lead. Glaetzer has to do a bit more work and he moves forward down the front straight, but Hoffman holds on and Hoffman will make his way through to the gold medal final. Very, very good effort by those two riders. The podium potential. Lee Hoffman putting himself in the gold medal final. And we'll now go to the presentations. Okay, I think we're ready to get underway. Hold on, I'm not getting results for the men. Oh, Junge. Okay, I'm gonna run down and grab a results sheet. Sorry? Yeah, but I don't know, like, yeah, I can't recognize all of them.
Etienne, are you going out to the medal winners over, or somebody please?
He's just run out the door. Film. Hey, film him. Him. Etienne Ricard, everyone. Just getting the results down for presentations. He'll be back here shortly. And that is a new Australian record. Ladies and gentlemen, Etienne Ricard has just broken the Australian record for getting the presentation numbers from Louise.
All right, we'll get underway with the Para IP Men C4 podium. In first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, Luke Taylor, representing Australia. Moving on to the presentations for men C5 in the Para IP. In third place, and winner of the bronze medal, Corey Boddington, representing Australia. In second place, and winner of the silver medal, representing New Zealand, Connor Douglas. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing New Zealand, Ian Edwards. And these are all being presented by Graham Fredericks, the Pacific Development Manager of Oceania. Yeah. I just did. We go now to the presentations for the Para Women C1 individual pursuit. In second place, and winner of the silver medal, representing Australia, Caitlin Sherman. In first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, Talia Clayton Goody. Who?
Mum.
Oh.
Huh?
So you're doing rowing? Doing that?
Yep.
Get big back for that?
Get big legs, arms, and shoulders too.
We go now to the presentations for the Para Women C2 individual pursuit. Again, all of these are being presented by Graham Fredericks, the Pacific Development Manager of Oceania. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing Australia, Annalise Hodge.
If you do the readers bit, you can never do them. No, the
Moving on to the presentation for Para Women C3 in the individual pursuit. In second place and winner of the silver medal, representing Australia, Emma Mickle. And in first place, winner of the gold medal, representing Australia, your Oceanic champion, Paige Greco.
because they couldn't get enough from cycling medals on it. Maybe.
Moving on to the Para Women C4 classification of the individual pursuit.
What's next though?
In third place and winner of the bronze medal, representing Australia, Sharon Boyd. In second place and winner of the silver medal, representing Australia, Meg Lemon. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing Australia, Alana Forster.
Where's
Moving on to the women's C5 para classification for the IP. In first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing Australia, Erin Rowell. We go now to the para men C2 individual pursuit. In second place and winner of the silver medal, representing Australia, Mitchell Bales. And in first place, representing Australia, the winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, Darren Hicks. We go now to the presentations for the Paramen C3 classification. In third place and winner of the bronze medal, representing Australia, Kyle Willis. In second place and winner of the silver medal, representing Australia, Greg Walters. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing Australia, David Nicholas. I leave on Tuesday when Oce's on
Yeah, then he comes back on Sunday.
Sunday. I have exams.
Are you commentating Tuesday, Monday?
He's just gone for the full day.
Moving on to the para women's blind IP. In first place, winners of the gold medal and your Oceanic champions, representing Australia, Candice Kennedy and Kelly Fetz.
Same
Feb?
school.
Mid, like maybe the.
Did you start at similar
I'm
times
in.
as school?
Well, I'm in week 6, but we have a teaching break in week 6.
Midterm exams. Oh, that was not. That's shitty.
It's fine. I only have 2.
So you come back Sunday. No, you leave Tuesday. Come back Sunday. How long are you up for again?
Then 2 weeks.
You get a 2-week break.
It's holidays. What do you go to?
We must go to gambling. I won $20 on the league.
Moving on to the para men's blind classification.
A lot of Chinese people from Oceania. A lot of people.
in first place, winners of the gold medal and your Oceanic champions representing Australia, Stephen Kemp and Peter Spencer.
Next.
I don't know, more sprints maybe?
I just got the $2.50 table. So we went out, my mates and I went out for St. Patrick's Day.
Mine was called.
You know the Irish lot? It's just like,
90% of the time, blackjack, I always win. And
they have this thing.
You're on mine. We can hear you.
I thought you told me.
And that's it for our presentations. Big thanks again to Graham Fredericks, Pacific Development Manager of Oceania, for presenting all of the awards. And now we go to the individual pursuit finals for the elite women. On the track now we have Sammy Donnelly on the front straight and Claudia Marks on the back, fighting it out for the bronze medal. It's self-catered, but yeah, I'll talk to you about it after. That's a big thing that's changed. I really like it. Both riders getting away reasonably well there. Donnelly especially putting a lot of effort into her start out of the gate. And it looks like she's got a slightly better half lap over Claudia Marks. We'll see what the timing screen says after the first lap. The gap almost half a second in the favour of the New Zealander. And now we see our riders start to get into their bars, do their final bit of acceleration and try to set themselves a pace for the course of the race. 0.689, the gap opening up in the favour of the Kiwi. She makes her way now out of the bend and into the front straight to finish her third lap. 0.655, the gap stagnating over that last lap as Claudia Marks starts to find her pace. 6.62 again, pretty much the same gap. So Sammy Donnelly and Claudia Marks settling into a pretty similar speed. Donnelly just with a better start, giving her her lead. 6.27 again, about the same. Down the opposite straights, both riders looking pretty consistent, pretty calm. Neither of them really particularly tired. Claudia Marks, though, taking out a good chunk of the gap as we reach the halfway mark of the race. Marks now making her way down the back straight. Donnelly making her way down the front. And the gap actually in the favour of Claudia Marks this time, only by 87 thousandths of a second. But that gap is now starting to open as Marks makes her way down the back straight. She is going to be the one against whom we're comparing the split. Half a second is the gap. Donnelly with a bit of ground to make up now, and we're getting to the pointier end of this race. Donnelly out of the bend and down the front straight. And she's coming through almost an entire second down. She's lost almost half a second in that last lap, and it looks like she's struggling more and more. Claudia Marks looking smooth and looking pretty similar to how she looked when she started. Donnelly, on the other hand, her cadence has dropped. She's stiffened up a bit more. Marks looking composed. Her cadence maybe a little bit lower than what she started with, but it's still putting her a second ahead of Sammy Donnelly. Half a lap to go now. Donnelly has brought up the pace a little bit, but as we come into the finishing straight, it looks like Claudia Marks will get it. But that being said, Sammy Donnelly taking a very big chunk out of Marks in the last lap. 0.3 of a second in it. But the Australian Claudia Marks will get herself a bronze medal. Brioni both are on the front straight. Emily Shearman on the back. Both riders for New Zealand. Both riders reasonably well out of the gate. Looks like Shearman with a slightly better first half lap over Botha. We'll see how they compare after the first lap. 0.2 of a second between the two of them in the favour of the back straight rider. That is Emily Shearman. Brioni both are turning it around and putting the gap into her favour by almost half a second. Shearman now the one having to fight to close it. as Botha will split ahead again and in fact double her lead over Emily Shearman. Both are going very quickly in comparison to her compatriot. .384 seconds the gap after lap 3. The riders now starting to settle into their rides. Both are keeping a very good position, head tucked down into her hands. Controlled upper body, legs turning over quite nicely. And it's really doing her a lot of favors. The gap almost out to 2.5 seconds between the two of them. We come down the front straight with Shearman now down the front straight with Botha. Just under 2 minutes her time as she gets 4 to go. 3 seconds down is Emily Shearman. 5 to go, sorry. Now she comes around for 4 to go. Just 1 kilometre remaining in the race for Botha. 1 kilometre now remaining for Emily Shearman. Just over 3.5 seconds down. A quarter of a lap, the gap between the two. Emily Shearman will have to do a big effort if she wants to close that gap. That gap now out to just over 5 seconds. Around the bend, both riders on the back straight now. Not enough time left in the race for there to be a catch, I don't think. But Botha can be pretty comfortable at the moment where she gets her bell. Shearman only now just getting her bell. Half a lap to go for Botha already. And she can sit up and ride her bike across the line knowing that she's won herself an Oceania gold medal. Emily Shearman still fighting hard, making her way to the line to get herself a silver. Matt Glazer and Tom Cornish for the Elite Men Sprint Bronze Medal Final. Cornish leading Gleitzer. Both riders now moving up towards the fence. Down the front straight we come, 2 laps to go. Look over the shoulder for Cornish. Eyes focused on Gleitzer behind. A fake swing down by Gleitzer. Gleitzer now moving around more, gaining the height of the track. Cornish trying to block as we come around and come down the front straight. The bell rings. 1 lap to go. Cornish in the lead. Gleitzer closing the gap to him. Down the back straight we go. Gleitzer is going to now try to come around. Cornish holding him off reasonably well around the bank. Cornish still with the lead. Down the front straight. Tom Cornish holds on. We'll wait for official confirmation. It might be closer than we thought. And it is indeed Tom Cornish who takes it out, gets 1 asterisk to his name, and he's halfway to a bronze medal. And now taking the track, we have Matt Richardson and Lee Hoffman. And the whistle sends them off. Richardson down to the bottom of the track. Both riders up towards the fence. Now making their way back down. Richardson in front, Hoffman out of the seat, just trying to follow the speed increases by Matthew Richardson. Hoffman going high, Richardson meeting the stayers line, trying to defend. Hoffman with a good amount of speed. Richardson with a good acceleration, and the bell rings. Richardson still in front. Hoffman trying to come forwards as we head down the back straight. The gap opens up and Hoffman sits up. Richardson gets himself the first asterisk. Richardson has been riding absolutely fantastically over the course of the day. Really dominating his sprints, winning them often with pretty much 100 meters to go. We now go to the bronze medal final for the elite women's sprint. Brianna Hargrave and Olivia King take to the track. King representing New Zealand and Hargrave, Australia. 3 to go. King leads Hargrave off the mark, both of them going pretty slowly around. Down the back straight we go now. King keeping an eye on Hargrave as Hargrave makes her way up to the fence. Both of them really coming close to a halt there, but as we enter the bank, they move back down onto the duckboard. King still on the front, keeping a good eye on Hargrave. 2 to go. Hargrave making a move down. King covering it pretty easily. Hargrave going back up towards the fence. King now making her way towards her, making sure that she's in her best position to block her. Doing so well when Hargrave tries to come down. Hargrave going back up then. The bell rings, 1 lap to go. King still in front. Hargrave with a good height advantage though. And Hargrave starts to make some ground down the back straight. She's really coming forwards quickly, but in comes the bank. King starts to inch forwards. King with a little bit ahead, but Hargrave comes out on top and crosses the line, gets the first sprint to her name, and gets herself halfway to winning a bronze medal.
So what do you think of your free time?
Elise Andrews and Christina Clonan on the track now. Clonan on the inside of Andrews. These two riders riding it out for the gold medal in the elite women's sprint. And Clonan leads Andrews down to the bottom of the track. Down the back straight, Clonan on the front. Both riders starting to pick up the pace a bit more. Two laps to go. Christina Clonan starting to increase the speed to cover off Andrews. Andrews with a lot of pace, also with a good amount of height. Down the front straight we come now, and the bell rings. Both of them very, very close together. Clonan trying to hold her off, but Andrews with so much speed, she just comes over the top of her. Clonan now trying to fight her way forwards. Elise Andrews will take out the first sprint in a very good ride. And we now go to the under 19 women's scratch race final.
remember when Nathan's New Zealand was actually crowds.
Sorry?
I remember when they had the Oceania in New Zealand were actually crowds. Like they even like brought kids from their school to come and watch and stuff.
That's really cool. I guess they have nothing else on.
So New Zealand. It's a better atmosphere. I guess.
Yeah. The whistle goes, and our riders are away for the under 19s. Everyone just rotating turns pretty comfortably. We're still in neutral at the moment. That just changed. Molly Hayes on the front for New Zealand starts to move up the track. Down the front straight we go. And it's Alana Haribar on the front in the Victorian colours, a series of quick changes. And I think that's Megan Barker. Now rolling up, a few riders following, not wanting to pull a turn, so it's going to be Eliza Carnes to go to the front. Carnes now swings up, followed by Elizabeth Green behind. Then Georgia Simpson from New Zealand. And we've got a little bit of a gap opening up that Georgia Simpson is going to fill. Down the front straight we go, 27 laps remaining, and it's Kira Will who just rolled up there. Molly Hayes now on the front. Coming around now, there's a pretty quick turn there from the Australian champion Nicole Duncan in the green and gold. Down the back straight we go. And it's Elena Worrell moving out. A surge from one of the riders. Could be Kira Will. It is. Kira Will now swinging up. And we lose a bit of speed as she leaves the front. Maybe some other riders not wishing to put on the same pressure that she is. Nicole Duncan on the front is wishing to put that pressure on. She swings up now, relatively short turn from the rider behind, Lauren Bates. Eliza Carnes now swinging up. Around we come down the front straight. It's Kira Will who leads. Will swings up. After her, it's Alana Haribar. And then we have Megan Baker from New Zealand. Baker swinging up. Short turn from the rider behind, another from the rider after that, and another after that. Kira Will is left on the front. Will now rolling up. Short turn from Duncan. No one really looking to make a break by the look of it. Eliza Carnes now leads us around. Carnes swings up, and on the front there is Lauren Bates. Bates moving up the track. Currently Felicity Wilson-Haffenden rolling up now. Around the bend and down the front straight. Again, Kira Will leading. Around the track we come. I think that's Sally Carter who was just rolling off. Eliza Carnes then. And a bit of a surge by Belinda Bailey behind Eliza Carnes. Getting covered by one of the riders from New Zealand. Around the bend and down the front straight they come. A look over the shoulder and a roll up the track leaves Elena Worrell from New Zealand on the front. Short turn from her though, and another quick succession of short turns afterwards. Nicole Duncan now leading down the back straight into the bend. We come around and down the front straight. Sally Carter coming out early. Flick of the elbow from Kira Will as she rolls up. Calls of up come from the peloton and from the crowd as Kira Will starts to make her way on the attack over the top. Other riders now trying to chase, including Caitlin Kelly from New Zealand leading it. Eliza Carnes now trying to follow Caitlin Kelly's wheel. A little bit of a gap that opened up between Carnes and Kelly. She's now moved off, and it's one of the riders from New Zealand. Now rolling up, very short turn from the rider behind her, Morella Willis-Hell, which means a gap is opening up. Morella Willis-Hell trying to fill a small gap that opened up in the group, and now she has to do some work because Eliza Carnes pulled out. And now it looks like Kira Will has an opportunity to get away with two other riders, Belinda Bailey and I think Georgia Simpson. Although it might be someone else. Break now closed down by Elena Worrell from New Zealand. Down the front straight we come. Nicole Duncan takes control of the race. Eliza Carnes moving up the inside. Possibly Georgia Simpson rolling up there, followed by Lauren Bates. Down the front straight we come after a quick series of turns from Morella Willis-Hell and Amy Masters. And Kira Will leads us down the back straight. She now starts to make her way up to the top and is followed by maybe Belinda Bailey. Another two quick turns. Sally Carter pulling up before she gets to the front. It leaves Nicole Duncan now moving up to the top. Eliza Carnes now moving up. Morella Willis-Hell now moving up. Georgia Simpson, by the looks of it, responding to a move by Felicity Wilson-Haffenden. Wilson-Haffenden over the top, opening up a pretty good gap. She saw the damage that could be done. And the Australian time trial IP champion is going to look to try to get away either on her own or with others. Down the front straight she goes. 9 laps remaining for Wilson-Haffenden. Leader of the chase is Megan Barker from New Zealand, and she's pulling two other riders with her. Lauren Bates has to move to the front as Baker moves up. Bates now swings up. Baker has to come through for a second turn after Amy Masters doesn't want to work. And so it's Baker on her own, a little bit of a gap between herself and the riders behind, but she's not going to commit to it. Someone who is going to commit to it is one of the riders from, I think, Victoria. It might be Belinda Bailey, it might be a teammate of hers coming down the front straight. It is actually Lilith Jones. Lilith Jones putting in a good effort, getting herself away from the riders behind. Jones with maybe about a 30-metre gap. The lack of cohesion in the peloton means there are a select few of riders who are going to have to do a lot of the work. Felicity Wilson-Haffenden among them, rolling up the track now. Kira Will and Sally Carter not wanting to pull a turn at all and following quickly. Georgia Simpson moving up after pulling a short turn, bringing Molly Hayes and Nicole Duncan with her. Meanwhile, Lilith Jones is continuing to pull away. She's got about a quarter of a lap on the peloton at the moment, and the peloton in response have sat up. Elena Worrell swings up. Eliza Carnes doesn't want to do anything about it either. Kira Will doesn't. And almost half a lap is the gap that Lilith Jones has on the peloton. Nicole Duncan not leading the chase. One of the Victorian riders takes the front. Again, still no cohesion from the peloton. We saw how this worked for the elite men yesterday. And it looks like maybe Amy Masters saw how well it worked for them as well. Sally Carter might have as well. Sally Carter covering the move. Lauren Bates trying to get herself involved as well. Carter pushing on. She's going to commit. Bates swings up, hoping that someone else will help her bridge. 2 laps to go in this race. Sally Carter starts to pull away from the rider that instigated the chase group. Amy Masters stuck in no man's land. The bell rings for number 104, Lilith Jones. Half a lap between herself and the riders behind. And it looks like, if all works well, Lilith Jones will cross the line in first. Around the bend she comes, down the front straight. Ladies and gentlemen, Lilith Jones with a very ambitious move took advantage of the games that the peloton was playing and got herself a gold medal in the Oceania's scratch race. A bit of a close call there. At the end, riders coming very close to Sally Carter, who also put in a good effort to get herself a silver medal. And there we have our results. Lilith Jones, Sally Carter and Nicole Duncan, our medalists. And we now go to the bronze medal final in the elite men's scratch race, elite men's IP. Keegan Hornblow on the front straight, Kyle Aitken on the back, both representing New Zealand. Good starts on both sides. Around the bend and down their respective straights for the first time. About a third of a second, the gap between Keegan Hornblow and Kyle Aitken in the favour of the former. Down the opposite straights they go now. Oh, they're finishing straight, sorry. Gap out to about half a second. And the two of them starting to settle in to the schedule that they've got. They've got 4 kilometres to race. A lot can happen. Half a second still the gap between the two. Both of them looking like they've started pretty well, getting into their schedule comfortably. The gap opening up again in the favour of Hornblow to almost 0.8 of a second. .171, so over a second for the first time in this race. The gap to Kyle Aitken. Aitken making his way around down the back straight, crossing the line, 1.6 seconds down on Keegan Hornblow. Hornblow looking pretty good as he rounds the bend and comes down the front straight, head tucked in nicely to his hands. Quick look at the timing screen and at his scheduler as he made his way into the bank. Here comes Kyle Aitken doing the same. Hornblow almost 2.5 seconds up on Aitken at the halfway mark of this race. 8 laps down, 8 laps to go. We have 2 kilometres left in this race. Keegan Hornblow still looking pretty cool, calm and collected. Down the front straight, Kyle Aitken looking pretty similar, just tucked in, head in his hands, trying to keep himself as aerodynamic as possible. Down the back straight now goes Hornblow. Down the front straight comes Kyle Aitken. And the gap between the two riders is about a straight long. Not enough for Aitken to close in the next 5 laps unless Hornblow really starts to fall apart, or the other way around. The gap nearly out to 4 seconds on the last lap. The gap now out to just under 5. Around the bend goes Aitken. Around the bend now goes Hornblow. Both riders on the back straight now. Aitken starting to hang his head a bit more. 2 laps to go for Keegan Hornblow, really pushing well as he makes his way around the bend and down the back straight. 2 to go now for Kyle Aitken too. The bell rings for Keegan Hornblow as he makes his way into the bend. He gets another comment from his scheduler. He makes his way now down the back straight. The bell rings for Kyle Aitken. Nothing Aitken can do. Keegan Hornblow has won himself a bronze medal, ladies and gentlemen. He crosses the line.
Sounds like what you're doing is really interesting. It was a bit hit and miss.
Tom Sexton on the front straight, James Moriarty on the back. These two riders raced each other in the qualifier and Sexton came out on top. No major problems on either side in the start there. Pretty neck and neck after the first half lap. And after the first full lap, it's James Moriarty ahead by 52 thousandths of a second. And we can see that start to change though as the race continues. Moriarty ahead again by about a quarter of a second over Tom Sexton. Now it starts to close back down. Sexton makes his way down the front straight. He splits 0.215 behind Moriarty, closing the gap down slightly. The gap very close at the halfway mark of the lap. They come down their respective finishing straights and the gap down to 31 thousandths of a second. Still very close at the halfway mark of the lap. Both riders settled in, looking strong. 2 thousandths of a second is the gap between the two riders in the favour of James Moriarty. Looks like Tom Sexton got there first in the next half lap. We'll see what the timing screen says. Doesn't say anything. Both riders looking very quick and absolutely neck and neck. 45 thousandths of a second the next time around. James Moriarty putting in a very big effort to keep up with Tom Sexton. We'll see how well he can hold it. 51 thousandths of a second now in the favour of Tom Sexton. Again, incredibly close between the two. And every time I think it might open up a bit more, they still come through side by side. 68 thousandths of a second. Again, nothing in it between these two riders. You could throw a blanket over them if they were riding side by side. Down their respective finishing straights again. And it's 98 thousandths of a second in the favour of James Moriarty. The crowd really aggressively cheering on as we get closer to the pointy end of this race. They're going to come around to get 5 laps to go. James Moriarty half a second in front of Tom Sexton. Sexton starting to falter as Moriarty comes down the front straight. That gap starting to become more and more visible. Down the finishing straight, Moriarty with a good gap on Tom Sexton. The gap out to almost a second. Moriarty opening up on Sexton. Down the opposite straights they go. They're going to come around and get 3 laps to go. Down the back straight goes James Moriarty. Down the front straight comes Tom Sexton. 1.2 seconds the gap between the two. You can see Sexton really starting to hurt, starting to hang his head as he goes down the back straight. James Moriarty heading down the back straight now himself. Tom Sexton coming down the front to get 2 laps to go. 1.7 seconds is the gap. James Moriarty, ladies and gentlemen, riding an absolutely stellar individual pursuit. The bell is going to ring for him this time as he comes around, being urged on by the crowd and by his scheduler. The bell rings for Tom Sexton as well. Now almost 2.5 seconds down on Moriarty. James Moriarty rounds the corner, makes his way down the back straight and becomes Oceanic champion in the IP. Fantastic effort Tom Sexton, arguably the favourite for that race. James Moriarty putting in a very good effort. The two side by side for the vast majority of the time. And it all changed very, very quickly in the last kilometre. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please.
So was that at the start of the year or end of last year? Your trip?
Over Christmas. It's really warm, but it's dry, that's why.
Yeah, it's so cute at work. I've least that.
We're going to go to presentations now for the individual pursuits for both elites and the under-19 women's scratch race. Okay, it looks like we're ready to get underway with our presentations any moment now. If you're not in the presentation area and you're getting a medal, please make your way there soon.
It's about like a 6-month process, and that's why it's like,
I still we have
and mine's only the third highest level. Because I got in negative beating 1, and there's negative beating 2, and positive beating. So the positive beating, it's like $15,000 for it. And you get
with the presentation first for the elite women individual pursuit. Presentations by Graham Fredericks, Pacific Development Manager of Oceania. In third place and winner of the bronze medal representing Australia, Claudia Marks. In second place and winner of the silver medal representing New Zealand, Emily Shearman. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion representing New Zealand, Brioni Botha. Okay, we can go now to the under 19 women scratch race presentations. In third place and winner of the bronze medal representing Australia, Nicole Duncan. In second place and winner of the silver medal representing Australia, Sally Carter. And in first place, winner of the gold medal, your Oceanic champion representing Australia, Lilith Jones. We go now to the elite men individual pursuit presentations. In third place and winner of the bronze medal representing New Zealand, Keegan Hornblow. In second place, winner of the silver medal representing New Zealand, Tom Sexton. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and Oceanic champion representing Australia, James Moriarty. Okay, we'll go now to the second heat of our elite sprints. All right, taking the track now. We've got the elite men bronze medal final in the sprints. Matthew Glaetzer and Tom Cornish. Cornish one up on Glaetzer. And Glaetzer is going to lead them off this time round. Glaetzer leads down to the duckboard. Down the back straight we go. Around the bend and down the front straight. We come now, 2 laps to go. Both riders really starting to wind it up now quite quickly. Cornish behind Glaetzer. Glaetzer blocking very well as we come down the front straight. The bell rings. 1 lap to go. Matthew Glaetzer increasing in speed. Cornish making his way now onto the wheel of Glaetzer. Closing the gap. We make our way around the bend. Glaetzer holding onto his lead. Cornish coming forwards, but Glaetzer will hold on and equalise. This race will have to go to a final decider.
So I only had like third parties. Worth that much.
All right, coming onto the track now, we have our gold medal finalists, Matthew Richardson and Lee Hoffman. Hoffman is going to lead us this time round. Richardson having done it last time. The whistle goes. Hoffman leads down to the bottom of the track. The two going around very slowly. Out of the bank and onto the back straight they come. And they start to go up the track now, coming to almost a standstill. Down onto the boards, onto the bottom of the track they go. And they start to pick up a little bit of speed coming around, going up towards the fence. And now they're going to start to pick up a little bit more speed. Hoffman on the inside of Richardson. Richardson starting to wind it up, swerving down underneath. Hoffman blocking reasonably well at the moment. Richardson getting some height now. The bell rings. Matthew Richardson trying to go underneath. Hoffman blocking well. Richardson coming forwards with just too much speed for Hoffman to do anything about it. And Matthew Richardson wins himself an Oceanic gold medal. Very good ride by the Australian. Brianna Hargrave, one up on Olivia King, taking the track now to fight for the bronze medal. King will start on the outside, having started on the inside in the last heat. The whistle goes. Hargrave leads to the bottom of the track. Keeping an eye behind on King. Small little move up. Starts to climb towards the fence. And now begins to make her way back down to the bottom. A little bit of a gap existing between King and Hargrave, but nothing really unconventional nor dangerous. Two to go. Starting to get a little bit more speed as Hargrave starts to pick it up from the front. Looking to defend more and more against Olivia King, who is moving around more and more, trying to make herself less and less predictable. Around the bend, down the front straight they come. The bell rings. One lap to go. It's Brianna Hargrave on the front. Olivia King starting to gain ground. Down the back straight they go. It's Brianna Hargrave still with the lead. Around the bend, down the front straight, into the finish, and Brianna Hargrave gets herself a bronze medal for Australia. Good display of sportsmanship as they come down the front straight. Nice wave to the crowd as well.
No, 7
And now it's Christina Clonan on the outside of Elise Andrews. Andrews one up on Clonan for New Zealand. Three to go. Andrews making her way down the back straight in front of Clonan. Both of them rolling around at a pretty reasonable pace. Clonan just sitting a little bit higher than Andrews. Andrews keeping an eye on her, making sure that there's nothing that she can do to which Andrews can't immediately respond. And Andrews starts to pick up the pace from the front. Clonan up towards the fence. Starting to pick it up, trying to get herself a good height advantage over Andrews as well. And the bell rings. Andrews blocking a move down by Clonan. Clonan having to make up a bit of ground now as they make their way down the back straight. Andrews still in the lead. Clonan with a bit of ground to make up in not much time. And Andrews will get herself a gold medal. And there was nothing Christina Clonan could do about it. Very good riding by Elise Andrews. Okay, going now to the under 19 men scratch race. The whistle goes, sends our riders away. Noah Blannon on the front there. Marshall Irwood on his wheel. And now the gun will go and start the race proper. Irwood on the front as Blannon rolls off. Down the back straight. Now they go. The group taking its time to get into a rhythm, being led currently by Wilson Hannon, who rolls up the track. Tom Kerr may be replacing him. Down the back straight, a little surge from a Victorian rider. Short turn from, I think, James Gardner behind. Noah Blannon on the front again. And we start again with the rotation. Marshall Irwood takes the front again as well. Down the front straight we come, 37 to go. Irwood swings up, short turn from the rider behind, which might be Magnus Jameson. A little bit of a kick, then short turn on the front from both Bernard Pawson and Liam Ramsey. Down the back straight we go again. Now we come down the front. Luc Richard leading. Richard rolls off the front. And I think that's Wolf Penne rolling off now and making his way towards the back. Leading us around, we have Bernard Pawson. Going around, a bit of a surge from Noah Blannon, stretching this group out. Some of those riders at the rear having to put in a bit of effort to stay with them. Irwood riding not with as much zeal, the rider behind with even less, as the group slows back down and loses that momentum. We've seen quite consistently over the past few days a lot of pelotons not really interested in keeping the pace high. Tom Kerr was, though. Bit of an effort from Kerr to try to animate the race a bit more. Seb Collins now takes the lead, rolls up the track. And down the front straight we go, 31 laps remaining, a look over the shoulder and a roll up the track from Alex Eves. Oscar Gallagher rolling up the track now, and a little bit of a surge behind from one of the New Zealanders. I think it was Bernard Pawson. It was actually Lucas Bimmy. Noah Blannon rolling up now. Luc Richard on the front, flicks his elbow, moves off. Tom Kerr now swinging up himself. Down the front straight, we're being led by James Gardner again. And there's a good move by Oscar Gallagher. He did get slowed down a little bit by one of the riders rolling off the front. No one really interested in chasing. Flick of the elbow as well from one of his compatriots, and it's going to be Noah Blannon to chase. Oscar Gallagher doesn't want to do it on his own. He was maybe hoping someone would try to get away with him. Noah Blannon not looking to bring the race back down to normal, but keep the pace high and maybe keep some of those riders at the rear under a bit of pressure. Marshall Irwood in the lead now, rolling up. Luc Richard now. Now Wolf Penne, short turn from Penne. Look over the shoulder, Hayden van der Ploeg rolling up around the track. Down the front straight, one of the riders from New Zealand making his way to the top. That's Tom Kerr. Tom Kerr now making his way back. Seb Collins moving up. Lucas Bimmy moving up. Oscar Gallagher. James Gardner. Bernard Pawson. Alex Eves making his way to the rear now. And it's Tom Kerr swinging up now. Around the bend, down the front straight, look over the shoulder, and a flick of the elbow from Luc Richard. Same from Wolf Penne, and the same again from Hayden van der Ploeg. Tom Kerr now swinging up. Flick of the elbow from another rider as well, before Sebastian Collins moves to the top, followed by Lucas Bimmy, followed by James Gardner, Oscar Gallagher, Bernard Pawson, and one of his teammates just following him up towards the fence there. I think that might have been not sure who that was. Bit of a surge now from one of the New Zealand riders. Coming around, it's Seb Collins who leads. Short turn from the rider behind him, who is Austin Norwell. Alex Eves pulling a short turn, leaves James Gardner on the front when the rider behind him doesn't want to do anything. We're seeing that rider really stay towards the front but not pull turns with much time at the front at all. That's number 139, Matthew Davidson. Now just letting Gardner in at the back in front of him. Might be looking to let Oscar Gallagher do the same. Meanwhile, there's a move at the front, a bit of animation from who else other than Noah Blannon. Wilson Hannon swinging up. And this time it looks like the pace is going to be kept relatively high. As I say that, we do start to slow down again. A series of pretty short turns leaves Bernard Pawson at the front, followed quickly by Lucas Bimmy and followed again by Austin Norwell. Alex Eves then swinging up, Wolf Penne, James Gardner, Oscar Gallagher now on the front. He moves up to the top of the track. Flick of the elbow too from the rider behind him. Leaves Seb Collins now moving up. Matthew Davidson moving up as well. Luc Richard moving up. Noah Blannon now. And again, another quick succession of riders following that wheel. Around the bend, look over the shoulder, and a swing up the track from a rider who I think might be Lucas Bimmy. Collins now swinging up, Bimmy now swinging up, Luc Richard on the front. Noah Blannon now replaces him and puts in a little kick, trying to up the pace again, really putting these riders under pressure. And my rider behind him, Magnus Jameson, not wanting to go with it. No one really looking to put in much work here. And as I say that, there is a move from one of the riders from New Zealand, Tom Kerr, putting in a little attack. And that looks like the chase is going to get shut down by maybe Bernard Pawson. Pawson swinging up, keeping the pace high. Short turn from Van der Ploeg behind. Luc Richard now looking to chase. We're getting closer to the end of the race. 12 laps to go, and Noah Blannon is pushing to stay away. Whoever thought they would leave a gap to Noah Blannon's wheel made a very grave mistake, and he starts to pull off the front, taking Tom Kerr with him. Short turn from Magnus Jameson, and there's a little kick from one of the New Zealanders behind. Luc Richard now at the head of the peloton, leading the chase. He swings up the track, and there's another push from behind by Lucas Bimmy. Bimmy looking to close it down. I think Noah Blannon sees that it's over, and he is going to just slot himself in the gap, keep himself towards the front. We are in the last 10 laps of the race. Seb Collins in the middle is going to swing up and put himself further back. We'll see how that affects his positioning as the race gets to a pointier end. In fact, he's going to come forwards to the front. James Gardner on his wheel. Gardner coming forwards now. Gardner controlling the race at the front. Wilson Hannon swinging up. Luke Richard swinging up. Wolf Penne on the front of the race. As we head down the back straight, we've really slowed down quite a lot. Keep an eye there on Hayden van der Ploeg. Maybe looking to improve his position. Down the front straight we go. Kerr in the lead again. A look over his shoulder. Matthew Davidson now takes the front. Now it's Noah Blannon. Moving up the inside is one of the riders from New Zealand. Coming forwards on the outside is Matthew Davidson. Davidson may be looking to use the banking to his advantage. And we're starting to pick up a good bit of speed now. Wolf Penne following the wheel up. Hayden van der Ploeg moving forwards up the inside. Luke Richard now flicking his elbow and moving out. Wilson Hannon swinging up as well. Noah Blannon coming through up the inside. Tom Kerr with what looks like a little bit of a surge. And we're gaining a bit of speed. Oscar Gallagher coming through. A bit of a move from Seb Collins there, trying to give himself a more attacking, aggressive, aerodynamic position. Collins starting to hang his head. You can see he's quite a bit fatigued, and here comes James Gallagher over the top. You could see his move coming from the back, but no one wanted to try to find his wheel. Now Davidson is going to. We've only got 3 laps to go as they come around. James Gardner with a good gap to the riders behind. Seb Collins can't chase it, and he's opening up a gap. A lot of riders stuck behind him with a lot to do. 2 laps to go. James Gardner with a good gap to the riders behind. Matthew Davidson trying to close it. Oscar Gallagher trying to make his way forwards as the bell rings. Gardner still with the lead, but now it's Oscar Gallagher. A little sandwich there was a close call. Down the back straight, it's still Gallagher. One of the New Zealanders trying to come forwards. I think that's Kerr. Around the outside, down the front straight. And it's actually Marshall Irwood who will take out the gold medal. Very good effort, very good positioning by Irwood. Just followed the right wheels that brought him straight to the front, and all he had to do was finish over the top. Brilliant ride.
It was 15 nil. That's bad.
Okay, and as these riders come off the track, I'd like to maybe ask you to make your way to the presentation area soon, because after our sprint deciders, we'll go straight into prezos. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yep. Okay, just would like to direct your attention to the timing screen, the results are up. Marshall Irwood, Austin Norwell and Oscar Gallagher, the top 3 medal winners. So if Marshall Irwood, Austin Norwell and Oscar Gallagher could make sure that they are able to go to the presentation area as soon as we're ready for them. Also Elise Andrews, Christina Clone and Brianna Hargrave, if you could make sure you're just aware of where we are with the racing to do the same. The whistle goes, and Matthew Glaitzer is going to lead us into the final race of the night. Around the bend and into the back straight we go. Glaitzer with his eyes on Tom Cornish as they make their way around. Down the front straight now. We come to get 2 laps to go. We're starting to build up a little bit of speed. Also Cornish starting to move around more and more, trying to increase the tension of the race. Starting to move up high now towards the fence, maybe get himself a bit of a height advantage. Glaitzer blocking well. He's out of the seat now as the bell rings. Matt Glaitzer keeping an eye on Tom Cornish. He swerves down well, blocking a good move down the back straight. It's Glaitzer with a lead and Cornish with a good amount of speed around the bend down the front straight. Matt Glaitzer will hold on and get himself a bronze medal. Great effort from those 2 riders. All right, perfect. We'll head to the presentation area then. Go squatting.
I did also I did a trial session of judo. Just to see if I was interested. I know how to do one takedown.
Cool.
I'm gonna
Take him down.
want me to
I'll do presses and I'll take him down.
What are you looking for? Thank you.
Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
sessions. Then I had this. Then it was like then you have to pay up for the first 3 sessions. And what's that shit? They just can't afford me. No. You're not. If you go by the law, make a thumb point upwards. Slam into you, so lose your balance. I'm not gonna do it. Don't go up on the machine because you're gonna tear it. You're gonna stop the panel.
Looks like we're going to start our presentations with the elite women's sprint. Presentations will be done by Graham Fredericks, the Pacific Development Manager for Oceania. And in third place, representing Australia, Brianna Hargrave. In second place, representing Australia and winner of the silver medal, Christina Clonan. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing New Zealand, Elise Andrews.
If you can do like a special thing, you can make that like miss a beat. I don't know how to do it yet. You don't make it. I mean, very rarely.
I like those things with the pressure
You go up before you warm that up. You know, it's like a double
You know how there are certain like cardiac pressure points in your body where
Yeah.
if you hit them, they'll cause heart failure in the next few days?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, we'll move on now to the under 19 men scratch race.
What do you mean?
Like the atoms of purple creating the waves and just go straight through. So I just did this and then just right through the
That seems like too hard.
In third place, representing Australia, Oscar Gallagher, winner of the bronze medal. In second place, and winner of the silver medal, representing New Zealand, Austin Norwell. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing New Zealand, Marshall Irwood.
.001 difference. Luke coming fourth.
This is on 19.
Really? He didn't like his previous coach on it.
He would be a bit tense at home if he didn't do well.
Moving on to the elite men sprint presentations. In third place, representing Australia, winner of the bronze medal, Matthew Gleitzer. In second place, winner of the silver medal, representing Australia, Lee Hoffman. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and your Oceanic champion, representing Australia, Matthew Richardson. All right, that concludes the presentations, the session, and the day. Thank you all very, very much for coming. Big thanks to our commissaires and our volunteers. And we'll see you all tomorrow. We're starting later tomorrow. The track will be opening for warm-up at 10 a.m. and we'll be starting our racing at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So we'll all see you then. Thank you all very much for coming and have a good night. And thank you as well to our people who organise the live